Have you ever noticed something strange? The harder you try to control everything, your plans, your goals, your relationships, the more it all seems to unravel. You schedule every detail, you push, you force, you chase, and yet things still fall apart. It's frustrating, isn't it? But what if the problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough? What if the real secret to power doesn't come from trying to control the chaos, but from staying calm within it? In this video, you're going to discover 11 life-changing Stoic rules that will teach you how to stay calm and how that calmness can become your greatest weapon. This isn't motivational fluff or some surface-level theory. These are timeless strategies that have been tested through centuries of hardship, war, and uncertainty by the Stoics themselves. They'll show you how to rise above stress, pressure, and fear. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop reacting and start leading your life with clarity and purpose? Then let's dive in. But first, let me take you back to a moment in history, a moment when a man faced unimaginable suffering and overcame it through pure Stoic resilience. This is the story of James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy pilot trained for precision, discipline, and control. A man who was used to being in command of every mission, every flight, every decision. Until one fateful day during the Vietnam War, everything changed in a single heartbeat. His jet was hit. No time to think, just the sound of impact, the plunge through the sky, and the terrifying silence that follows. He ejected, his parachute opened, and before he even hit the ground, he knew. He wasn't landing in friendly territory. He was falling straight into the enemy's hands, captured, beaten, stripped of dignity. He was dragged like a broken object, tossed into a prisoner of war camp, and that's where the real nightmare began. Isolation, torture, silence. 7 years, not 7 days, not 7 months. 7 long, brutal years in a cramped cell, not knowing whether he would ever see daylight again, not knowing if the next beating would be his last. Most men would break under that kind of pressure. Many did. They lost their minds, gave up, surrendered to fear. But Stockdale didn't. Not because he was the strongest man in the room or the toughest physically, but because he had mastered something far more powerful: his mind. You see, James Stockdale wasn't just a pilot. He was a student of Stoic philosophy. In the darkest moments of his life, he remembered the words of Epictetus. It's not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. He couldn't change what was happening to him, but he could change how he responded to it. He couldn't stop the pain, but he could stop the pain from defining him. He couldn't escape, but he could protect the one thing they could never take: his attitude. And that changed everything. Instead of giving in to despair, he became a quiet rebel. He led from within. He created a secret code to communicate with other prisoners. He resisted, not with weapons, but with strength of character. That is the power of Stoicism. That is the power of calm. And that's exactly what you're going to learn today. And that's where we left off, in the heart of darkness, where James Stockdale chose strength over surrender. But his real power didn't come from muscle or rank. It came from the calm he protected like a sacred fire, one that no tormentor could extinguish. While others felt isolated, James created a secret communication system among the prisoners. Taps on walls, subtle signals. Each message reminded them, you are not alone. He taught them how to resist, not just physically, but psychologically. How to guard their minds, to keep the enemy from breaking them from within. And while his captors tried to crush him day after day, James held on to a quiet mantra. This does not define me. I am stronger than this. And he was. After 7 unimaginable years, he walked out of that nightmare alive. When asked how he endured it all, his response was powerful in its simplicity. I accepted reality, but I never lost faith in my ability to overcome it. That's the essence of Stoicism. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. So let me ask you, what's stealing your calm today? A bad day at work? A toxic conversation? The weight of uncertainty pressing down on your chest? If James Stockdale could find peace and strength in the middle of one of the worst hells a human could face, so can you. No matter how intense the chaos, one truth remains. You still have power over your response, and that power might just be the most important one of all. In this video, I'll show you how to unlock it, step by step. But before we continue, if you're finding value in this message, consider subscribing and becoming part of our Stoic Virtue Daily community. You'll gain access to exclusive perks, and more importantly, you'll grow alongside a tribe of calm minds in a chaotic world. Drop a comment below and tell us, what does staying calm mean to you? Or simply write, I am Stoic. Let's rise together. Lesson 1. Calm is your greatest weapon picture. You're a Formula One driver. The engine screams, your knuckles tighten around the wheel, the track burns beneath your tires. You're seconds from victory. Then it happens. A sharp curve. Your car loses grip. The wheel goes light. Control slips away like sand through your fingers. In that instant, you have two choices. First choice, panic, freeze. Let fear flood your system, react without thought, jerk the wheel in desperation. And just like that, you're off the track. Race over. Second choice, stay calm. Feel the slide. Breathe. Ease off the gas. Adjust with precision. And just when the moment is right, regain control. The best drivers in the world aren't just fast. They're composed. They don't fight chaos. They read it, adapt to it, and turn it into their advantage. Life works the same way. It's not about having a perfect track. It's about knowing how to respond when everything spirals. Look closely at the world's most successful people. You'll notice a pattern. It's not that they avoid crisis. It's not that their lives are smooth. It's that when the world tilts, they stay steady. They don't lose themselves when everything feels out of control. And now you're going to learn how to do the same. Building on what we just discussed about staying steady when life throws its worst at us, it's important to realize they don't let fear call the shots. Ryan Holiday, the best-selling author of The Obstacle is the Way, calls this a strategic advantage. He points out that real strength isn't about being the fastest or the loudest. Instead, it lies in the ability to keep a cool head when everything seems to be falling apart around you. And this isn't just some feel-good motivational speech. A calm mind actually makes better decisions. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, understood this centuries ago when he said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Fast forward to today, and neuroscience backs him up. When we react impulsively, it's our amygdala, the brain's emotional center, taking over. This part drives our fear, anger, and frustration. But when we manage to stay calm, we engage the prefrontal cortex, the brain's decision-making hub. This is where we reason, evaluate, and make intelligent choices. A fascinating study from the Institute of Cognitive Neuroscience in London found that people who train themselves to remain calm under pressure don't just experience less stress, they consistently perform better over time. They don't react based on fleeting emotions, but act with a clear strategy. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds incredible in theory, but how do you actually practice it? Because let's be honest, it's easy to talk about staying calm when you're watching a video or reading a book. The real test comes when life hits you hard, when the unexpected curve appears out of nowhere, and you feel like everything is slipping beyond your control. So, here are two practical strategies you can start using today to train your mind for calmness. First, the observer technique. Imagine you're not the person living through the situation, but rather a spectator watching a movie, what advice would you give the main character? This simple mental exercise helps you step back emotionally and see things more clearly without being swallowed by the moment. And here's the real game changer. Don't wait for a crisis to practice calmness. Train it every single day. For example, picture this. You come home from the grocery store, start unpacking, and suddenly a carton of eggs decides to do parkour off the counter, crashing to the floor. Total disaster, right? Your first instinct might be to yell, curse the laws of gravity, or ask why life seems so cruel. But this little moment is your test. If something as minor as spilled eggs can steal your calm, what do you think will happen when a real problem hits? If you can't control your mind in small moments like these, you definitely won't in the big ones. Remember, calm doesn't magically appear when you need it the most. It's a muscle, one that must be trained daily. So, tell me, do you want to keep reacting like a rookie driver who loses control at the very first sharp turn? If staying calm makes you stronger, why let the chaos of the world push you off course again and again? Now that we've explored the power of staying calm, let's dive into a question that challenges many of us. Can you really control everything? Have you ever had one of those days where nothing seems to go according to plan? You wake up early, full of hope and determination. Today is going to be your day. You've mapped everything out in meticulous detail. Finish that crucial project, squeeze in a workout, and prepare a special dinner for your loved ones. Everything is set, and nothing can possibly go wrong. But then, like a sudden storm, everything begins to unravel. Your boss drops an urgent request that wasn't on your radar. A friend cancels dinner plans at the last second. You reach out to someone, hoping for support, but instead they hit you with a comment that ruins your mood. Frustration starts creeping in. Nothing's going as expected, and suddenly, your carefully laid plans feel like sand slipping through your fingers. And here's where the real trouble begins. Because it's not just our own lives we want to control. Many of us want to control others too. We expect people to react exactly as we imagine. We want our plans to unfold precisely as designed. We want everything to go perfectly, exactly on our terms. So tell me, how many times has this happened to you? How often have you tried to change someone's mind, to make them see things your way, to convince them to do things your way? Maybe you've offered advice to a friend who keeps repeating the same mistakes, or tried to get your partner to understand your point of view, but they just don't change. Or perhaps you wish your parents would stop worrying so much and simply see things from your perspective. And when they don't, you feel angry, frustrated, and like the world is falling apart. But here's the truth. The problem isn't the situation itself. It's your attachment to the illusion that you can control it. Naval Ravikant, the well-known investor and entrepreneur, explained this beautifully in one of his talks on happiness and personal success. He said that suffering comes from the desire to control what is uncontrollable. Many people spend their entire lives trying to force outcomes, manipulate circumstances, or change others. But the real key is to let go, to focus only on what truly lies within our control. And Naval was right. The more you try to force things, the more you resist reality. And resistance only breeds anxiety, frustration, and stress. But this idea isn't new. More than 2,000 years ago, Epictetus, one of the great Stoics, said it simply: some things are up to us, and some things are not. Only those who cling stubbornly to what they cannot control will suffer. Science agrees too. A study from Stanford University explored the emotional toll of uncertainty. Here's what they did. They split people into two groups. The first group was given a task where they had full control over the outcome. The second group faced a task where the result depended on external factors beyond their influence. Then researchers measured how stressed each group felt. What do you think happened? So what did they find? The people who accepted uncertainty showed something remarkable: lower anxiety, greater adaptability, and a much more stable emotional state. Meanwhile, those who desperately clung to control felt a constant wave of frustration and exhaustion washing over them. Now think about this. Which side do you want to be on? The side that accepts what can't be changed and focuses on what's truly within their power? Or the side that fights against the wind, stubbornly expecting it to shift exactly in their favor? If you want to learn how to keep your balance no matter what obstacles life throws at you and continue confidently on your path to success, I have two challenges for you. First, the "so what" challenge. The next time something doesn't go according to plan, pause and ask yourself, so what? Will this matter in 5 years? Often, the stress we feel comes from things that won't even be a memory a few months down the road. Now, here comes the second challenge, and honestly, I'm almost afraid to say it because I know your first reaction might be a firm, "No way, but trust me, this could change your life if you give it a chance." We'll call it controlled chaos. Once a week, stop planning every single detail. Give yourself permission to simply go with the flow without rigid expectations or a strict agenda. You'll be surprised at how your mind adapts and how, paradoxically, by letting go of control, you actually gain it. Life isn't a straight highway where every mile follows the map you laid out. It's more like sailing open waters. You can't avoid the waves, the storms, or sudden shifts in direction, but you can learn to adjust your sails. You can learn to release what isn't yours to control and instead focus on the one thing you absolutely can control: your decisions, your attitude, and your response to every situation. And here's the truth. Real success doesn't come from trying to control everything around you. It comes from knowing how to adapt, flow, and take charge of what's truly in your hands. Before I finish, let me give you one more powerful tip. Be grateful before you complain. Imagine your brain is like a garden. Whatever you plant, that's what will grow. If every day you water it with stress, complaints, and negativity, you'll end up with a dry, thorn-filled wasteland. But this isn't just a poetic idea. Scientists at the University of Berkeley proved it in a fascinating experiment. They split people into two groups and gave them a simple task. The first group was asked to write down 3 things they were grateful for every night, no matter how small. The second group could write about anything, with no specific rules. Weeks later, when the results came in, they were astonishing. The first group, those who practiced daily gratitude, showed increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for calmness, decision-making, and emotional well-being. It was as if their brains had rewired themselves to handle stress better, think more clearly, and find peace even amidst chaos. What the scientists discovered was eye-opening. The first group, the ones who practiced daily gratitude, showed remarkable changes in their brains. Their minds became specially trained to focus on the good, to handle stress more effectively, and to maintain emotional balance. Meanwhile, the second group, nothing changed. Their brains stayed the same. The garden remained dry and barren. Do you see it now? Gratitude might seem trivial or even cliché, but it is anything but. And believe me, I know this from personal experience. I used to think practicing gratitude was pointless too. But one day I decided to give it a real shot. I started writing down 3 things I was grateful for every morning, and slowly but surely, my mindset shifted completely. Over time, I came to understand a truth that Seneca had already spoken centuries ago. It is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratitude that makes us happy. Think about a typical Monday morning. You open your eyes, and the very first thought that comes to mind is that you desperately need a vacation. You imagine your life would be easier if you had a different job, a different house, or a different lifestyle altogether. As you wash your face, your mind keeps replaying the same tune. If I had more money, if I had more time, if things were simpler, then I'd finally be at peace. But tell me, when has it ever been enough? Because the truth is, no matter how much you achieve or acquire, there will always be something else to want, something else to chase, something you believe is missing. And right in the middle of all that endless longing, the one thing you truly lose is your peace of mind. So here's the deal. If a simple habit, like recognizing the good things already in your life, can literally strengthen your mind and help you stay calm during tough times, why wouldn't you start now? Begin your day with intention. The moment you open your eyes, sit up in bed, stretch your arms wide and say out loud, "Thank you." Yes, it might feel a little silly at first, but trust me, it works. The instant you start your day with gratitude, your brain shifts its focus. Instead of obsessing over what's missing, it begins to notice all that's already there. Next, before you go to sleep, write down 3 good things that happened during the day. And don't just repeat the same things every night. Look for details. Maybe it was a perfectly brewed cup of coffee or an unexpected laugh with your partner. Because if you don't train your mind to see the good, it will only see the bad. And third, focus on what you have, not what you lack. Life isn't about crossing off an endless checklist of desires. If you can't appreciate what you have now, you won't appreciate it even when you have twice as much. The peace you're searching for, the clarity you need, and the success you want aren't found in what you haven't yet obtained. They lie in the way you choose to see your life. Here's a truth you should tattoo onto your mind. Complaining changes nothing. Gratitude changes everything. A few months ago, a close friend of mine received life-changing news. A serious health issue, the kind that completely turns your world upside down. Suddenly, everything became uncertain. Endless trips to hospitals, relentless medical tests, the shadow of fear looming over every moment, and worst of all, his own mind turning against him. Every morning he woke up trapped in a cycle of the same troubling thoughts. What if things get worse? What if I never get better? Why is this happening to me? And with thoughts like these, the days stretched on endlessly, like being stuck in a dark tunnel with no visible way out. Then one day during a long wait in the hospital, he stumbled upon a talk by Tony Robbins, the famous motivational coach. Robbins said something simple but incredibly powerful. The quality of your thoughts defines the quality of your life. My friend couldn't get those words out of his mind. It felt familiar, like he'd heard something close before. He started digging and soon discovered that Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, had said almost the exact same thing nearly 2,000 years ago. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. That moment was a turning point. He realized that while he couldn't control his illness, he absolutely could control how he faced it. So he made a small but profound change. Every morning before even getting out of bed, he forced himself to think of something positive, something to look forward to no matter how small. Today, I'll find something that makes me laugh. Today, I'll savor every moment with my family. Today, I'll be grateful for what I do have. Interestingly, his health situation didn't suddenly improve overnight. The illness remained the same, but the way he dealt with it changed completely. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most powerful emperors, understood this truth deeply. His greatest battle wasn't against enemies or wars. It was against his own thoughts. He didn't waste energy obsessing over problems. Instead, he focused relentlessly on solutions. He didn't fixate on what could go wrong, but centered his mind on how to face whatever came his way. That mindset was his secret weapon to stay strong amid chaos. And it can be yours too. So now I want to ask you, how are you using your mind? Are you programming it to attract the best outcomes? Or are you filling it with worries and doubts that only hold you back? Here are 3 powerful steps you can start with today. First, reframe your negative thoughts. Every time you catch yourself thinking, this is a disaster, or I can't handle this, pause and challenge those thoughts. Instead, say, this is a challenge, but I can learn something from it. Or it may not be easy, but I will find a way. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about training your mind to seek solutions instead of dwelling on problems. Second, distance yourself from people who only focus on the negative. Negativity is contagious. If you spend your days surrounded by constant complaints, drama, and people who give up easily, you'll start thinking the same way. Instead, seek out those who inspire you, people who push you forward and talk about possibilities rather than limitations. Visualize positive outcomes before you start your day. And no, this isn't about daydreaming or fantasizing about impossible things. It's about mentally rehearsing yourself, handling situations with calm and confidence. Picture how you want to feel when challenges come your way. Imagine responding with patience, clarity, and strength, no matter what happens. Because when your mind has already practiced success, achieving it becomes far more natural and easier to reach. In the end, it all boils down to one simple truth. Your mind is the lens through which you see the world. If you train yourself to think clearly and positively, you'll start attracting better opportunities, making smarter decisions, and ultimately becoming the best version of yourself. So, my friend, I want to hear from you. What is it that you truly want to attract into your life? Write it down with conviction in the comments below, because everything begins with a single thought. 5. Your attention defines your reality. Let me ask you something. When you walk down the street, what do you usually notice? Do you focus on the rushing crowd, the blaring traffic, the endless noise, or the problems surrounding you? Or do you pause to appreciate the small, beautiful moments, like the sunlight warming the buildings, the gentle rustle of the wind through the trees, or a stranger's random smile? Here's the truth. Reality is the same for everyone, but how you perceive it depends entirely on where you choose to place your attention. Think about that famous bus meme. Two people on the same bus ride. One stares out the window at a breathtaking landscape, full of wonder and possibility. The other fixates on a small rock on the floor, feeling miserable and trapped. The difference isn't the journey or the scenery, it's which side of the bus they decided to sit on. Life works the exact same way. If you only focus on the gray areas, on what's wrong or what's missing, your world will feel like a cold, unbreakable wall of stone. But if you turn your head and look in the right direction, you might realize the view was beautiful all along. Will Smith once shared in an interview, if you want success and happiness, if you want to achieve any goal, you have to learn to ignore distractions and focus only on what truly matters. That focus has been the key to his success. It's not luck. It's mastering where to direct your energy. Your attention works like an Instagram filter. Depending on the filter you choose, the whole image changes. If your filter is loaded with complaints, worries, and problems, everything around you will look dark and gloomy. But if you switch filters, if you choose to see what is within your control and what opportunities you can seize, your entire world transforms. Now tell me, where have you been placing your attention lately? Try this exercise. Think of something that made you feel upset or anxious in the past few days. Maybe a harsh comment someone made, a problem at work, or something troubling you saw on social media. How did it make you feel? Now imagine this. Instead of focusing on that negative thing, you had shifted your attention to something positive, something within your control, something that lifted you up and gave you strength. How different would your day have been? Maybe it was a small achievement from your day, a moment of peace, a genuine smile, or a meaningful conversation you had. Now ask yourself, would your mental state have been the same if you had focused on those positive moments instead of the worries? Probably not. If you want to regain your calm, your focus, and start steering your mind toward what truly leads to success, then here's where to begin. First, do a mental diet. Just like you carefully watch what you eat to stay healthy, you should watch what you feed your mind. Be mindful about the negative news you consume daily. Filter the content you follow on social media. Ask yourself honestly, does this add value to my life, or is it just draining my energy? Remember, your mind is like a garden. What you water is what grows. If you water negativity, anxiety, and stress will bloom. But if you water positivity and hope, that's what will flourish. Second, do an attention reset whenever you find yourself stuck in negative thoughts. Literally change your focus. Go for a walk, take a deep breath, and look around to find something new, something different. When worries flood your mind, switch the question from, why is this happening to me, to, what can I learn from this? That subtle shift rewires your brain to look for solutions and growth instead of despair. Third, surround yourself with people who reinforce what you want to attract into your life. If you spend time only with people who complain, who see problems everywhere, who never offer solutions, you'll start thinking the same way. Instead, seek out those who inspire you, challenge you to grow, and push you to keep your focus on what truly matters. As Epictetus wisely said, where your attention goes, there your soul will be also. Ultimately, what you focus on shapes your experience. If you train your attention to concentrate on what strengthens you, you'll build resilience, make wiser decisions, and stay calm no matter what life throws at you. Sixth, if you don't rest, your mind will shut down. How many times have you pushed yourself to keep going even when you're completely drained? Sitting in front of your computer, trying desperately to focus, but your mind feels like a TV with static, fuzzy, broken reception. You read the same sentence repeatedly without comprehension. You drink a coffee, then another, hoping for clarity, but it never comes. And instead of admitting you need a break, you push yourself even harder. Do you really think that's going to help you perform better? Of course not. You end up making more mistakes and feeling worse than before. Here's a truth nobody tells you. Rest is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Think about your phone. What happens if you use it all day without ever charging it? Exactly. It shuts down. No matter how much you shake it, hit it, or scream at it, it won't turn back on until you give it the power it needs. So why do you keep treating your brain any differently? The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Seneca made it clear when he said, even the sharpest sword needs rest to keep its edge. What good is a perfect weapon if you wear it down until it no longer cuts? And what good is a brilliant mind if you exhaust it until it no longer thinks clearly? Seneca understood this deeply. He made sure to allow time for reflection, calm, and recovery. He never saw rest as wasted time. Instead, it was a deliberate strategy to come back stronger, sharper, and more resilient. Fast forward to today, modern neuroscience confirms what Seneca already knew centuries ago. Rest enhances memory, boosts learning, and improves self-control. To keep this from sounding like a dull lecture, let me put it in simple terms. Imagine your brain as a whiteboard. Every day you write down everything you learn, do, and decide. But if you never erase that board, it becomes cluttered, with less space for new ideas, more confusion, and less clarity. Sleep is like wiping that whiteboard clean, clearing away the clutter to make room for fresh ideas, new lessons, and sharper decisions. Now, do you see why rest is so essential? I know what you're thinking. Okay, but my life is too chaotic to get good rest. Don't worry. Here are 3 simple strategies you can start using today to invite more calm into your daily routine. First, reduce screen time before bed. Yes, it sounds cliche, But there's a solid reason behind it. The blue light from your phone tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. So if you go to bed scrolling through social media, watching videos, or reading the news, don't expect your mind to switch off right away. Second, create a nighttime routine. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can read a few pages of a book, jot down some thoughts in a journal, or simply sit quietly and let your body relax. The key is sending a clear signal to your brain that it's time to disconnect and prepare for rest. Third, listen to your body. If you feel tired or overwhelmed, give yourself permission to stop. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It's a smart strategy. Athletes don't train nonstop because they know their performance depends on recovery. You are the athlete of your own life, and resting is the way to recharge your energy so you can be stronger tomorrow. Because if you truly want to succeed, you don't need more hours of mindless work. What you need is more clarity, more focus, and more calm. 7. Your morning shapes your destiny. Imagine Marcus Aurelius and Seneca waking up in the 21st century. Marcus Aurelius opens his eyes and instinctively grabs his phone. He scrolls through notifications, sees unanswered emails from the Senate, catches a Twitter thread criticizing his latest decree, and on top of it all, the news reports chaos brewing on the empire's borders. He sighs, gets out of bed reluctantly, and while pouring his coffee, he's already dreading how exhausting the day will be. Seneca, on the other hand, wakes up slowly and calmly. Before moving, he takes a deep breath and asks himself, "What kind of day do I want to have?" He gets up without rushing, stretches, drinks a glass of water, and takes out his journal to write some reflections. Then, without touching his phone, he steps outside for a walk, feeling the fresh air on his face. One starts the day dragged down by distractions and worries, the other begins with intention and calm. One wakes up overwhelmed by circumstances, the other takes control from the very first moment. So who do you resemble more in your mornings? Many people start their day on autopilot. They wake up, grab their phones, and immediately fill their minds with information, worries, and distractions, all before even getting out of bed. They don't prepare their minds or set their focus. They just throw themselves headfirst into the chaos of the day without any real control. But now imagine what could happen if, instead of reacting to everything that comes your way, you chose how to start your day intentionally. This isn't just philosophy anymore. Science backs it up. Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, a respected expert in health and wellness, explains that having a clear morning routine is crucial for managing stress and maintaining calm. His research shows that when people begin their day with intention, whether through reading, meditating, or simply avoiding distractions, their anxiety decreases and their ability to focus sharpens dramatically. So tell me, how are you starting your days? To make sure this doesn't remain just a theory, let's try something different. Imagine that today marks your turning point. I'm going to guide you through an ideal morning routine so you can experience firsthand what it feels like to start the day with control. The moment you open your eyes, commit to one rule: no touching your phone for the first 30 minutes. Yes, I know that sounds difficult, but think about it. Do you really need to flood your mind with endless information before you're even fully awake? Give your brain a break before bombarding it with messages, news, and social media. So what will you do instead? Choose something small but meaningful that makes you feel in control. Something that gives you the sense that your day has already started with a win. It could be making your bed, stretching, preparing a quiet breakfast, or meditating for a minute. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you do it with intention. Finally, take a moment to visualize the kind of day you want to have. Don't let the day take control of you. Take control of your day. Picture how you want to respond to challenges, how you want to feel, and what you want to accomplish. If you're not sure how to train your mind to visualize with clarity, don't worry. Stay tuned, because soon you'll discover why this skill can change everything. So my friend, tell me, how are you going to start your mornings from now on? Share your plan in the comments and make it real. This community is here to support you every step of the way. 8. What you visualize, you build. Has this ever happened to you? You decide to buy a car, you start looking at different models, imagining the color, the details, picturing yourself behind the wheel. Then suddenly you start seeing that car everywhere, on the street, in ads, in parking lots. It feels like the universe is sending you signs, right? But here's the truth. It's not magic. It's your brain. When you focus your attention on something, your mind starts to notice it everywhere. This phenomenon, known as the reticular activating system, acts like a filter, tuning your awareness to what matters most to you. So when you visualize your goals clearly and vividly, you're training your brain to spot opportunities and align your actions toward making those goals real. When you focus on something, your mind starts detecting it more easily, not because it suddenly appears out of nowhere, but because you've activated the right filter in your brain. This filtering system tunes your awareness, making you more sensitive to what you truly care about. And this doesn't only happen with cars, it happens with everything in life. Epictetus summed this up perfectly in one powerful sentence. What you feed your mind becomes your reality. If you spend your days obsessing over problems, dwelling on what you lack, or fixating on how hard life is, that's exactly what you'll see reflected everywhere you look. But if you shift your focus toward progress, opportunities, and growth, your mind will start working actively to uncover and create them. Here's a secret. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. Roxy Nafusi, an expert in visualization, explains that picturing your day with clarity is not just some mental exercise. It's a powerful, real way to train your brain for success. Want to try it now? Close your eyes and imagine your ideal home. Don't just think about it casually. Mentally experience it. What color are the walls? How does the light stream through the windows? What scents fill the air? What music plays softly in the background? What does it feel like to walk through this space, to live there every day? Now imagine everything you need to do to get there, not as a distant fantasy, but as a real, actionable path. Visualize each step clearly, the effort, the decisions, the small daily wins that steadily bring you closer to your goal. Does it feel more real? Good, because the clearer you see it in your mind, the easier it becomes to recognize and take the paths that lead you there. So how can you harness visualization to stay calm and achieve success? First, create a mental script for your goals. Simply saying, I want to improve or I want success isn't enough. Your brain needs detailed, clear images of what you want. For example, if your goal is to be more confident, visualize a specific situation where you act with absolute confidence. If you want a successful business, picture a full day inside it, from your first morning coffee to your last meeting. The more vivid and specific the images, the better your brain understands where to direct your energy. Second, surround yourself with images and stimuli that reinforce your vision. Have you ever noticed how athletes fill their walls with motivational quotes, pictures of their idols, or trophies? That's no coincidence. Your environment deeply influences your thoughts and feelings, so use this to your advantage. Place reminders of your goals where you see them every day. Change your phone wallpaper to something inspiring, and read content that reinforces the mindset you want to cultivate. Calmness comes from clarity. When you know where you're going, you're less likely to be shaken by distractions or doubts. Success isn't about luck. It's about visualizing what you want and taking each step with intention. 9. Breathe and take back control. The game is on. The air is thick with tension around the table. Players study their cards carefully, but true experts don't just focus on their own hand. They watch their opponents. In poker, it's not just about the cards you hold. It's about the control you have over your mind. When pressure rises and stress creeps in, your breath is your secret weapon. Slow, deliberate breathing calms your nervous system, sharpens your focus, and helps you make better decisions. The winner in any game isn't always the one holding the best cards, but the one who knows how to play them skillfully. Beginners often give themselves away with every breath they take, every nervous twitch, every drop of sweat forming on their forehead. Their anxiety betrays them. But professionals, they don't blink. They don't show impatience. They don't let anyone read their mind because they understand something crucial. In poker, just like in life, the one who loses control loses the game. Now imagine swapping those poker chips for words in the table for a real-life argument. Someone challenges you, provokes you, tries to drag you into their emotional game. If you take the bait, if you react impulsively without thinking, if you explode in anger or frustration, you've already lost before the first word leaves your mouth. But if you stay calm, if you breathe deeply before responding, if you choose your reaction wisely instead of giving it away like an open book, then you hold the power. Picture this. You're in the middle of an argument. Your heart races, your blood boils, words build up in your throat, ready to fire. You feel attacked, misunderstood. Every fiber of your being screams to react, defend yourself, respond, to not stay silent. But wait, pause, because this is the moment where everything is decided. You can explode and say the first thing that comes to mind, or you can do what the Stoics mastered. Stay calm. No, this isn't just about avoiding embarrassment or regret after an argument. It's the difference between being trapped in impulsive reactions that control your life or taking control of your life and moving steadily toward success. Marcus Aurelius practiced this discipline daily. If he hadn't, his empire would have crumbled long ago. That's why he said, "Calm yet determined, cheerful yet steady, that is the man who follows reason in all things." That is the key. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. It all depends on whether you control it or let it control you. And in moments of stress and tension, what's the very first thing you should do? Take charge of your breathing. It sounds almost too simple, but listen closely. Whoever doesn't control their breathing doesn't control their mind, and whoever doesn't control their mind can't control their life. So next time you feel like you're about to lose control, use these tools to stay calm. First, try the 4-7-8 breathing technique. It's simple. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 7 seconds. Exhale completely through your mouth for 8 seconds. Why does it work? Because it forces your body to relax. It's like hitting the reset button on your nervous system. Also, practice compassion. If someone snaps at you in anger or frustration, chances are it's not really about what you just said. It's something much deeper, something invisible to you. Maybe they're having a bad day, a hard life, or simply don't know how to manage their own thoughts and emotions. And here's where you gain the advantage. You get to decide whether you want to step into their chaos or keep your calm. Because at the end of the day, the one who shouts loses, and the one who stays calm wins. Remember this whenever life's pressures start to mount. Don't react immediately. Breathe first. Decide later. Because real success doesn't belong to those who let their first impulse take control. It belongs to those rare few who know how to wait, think carefully, and act with precision. 10. Seek silence. Find your answers. Think about your typical day. You open your eyes, and before even sitting up, your phone is already in your hand. Notifications, emails, social media alerts flood your attention. You step outside and the world bombards you with noise. Traffic horns blaring, half-heard conversations swirling around you, music blasting from every corner. You get home and switch on the TV, check more messages, and fill every free moment with noise and distraction. Without even realizing it, your life becomes a whirlwind where silence has no place. Just thinking about all that noise feels overwhelming, right? But do you know why you keep doing it? It's because you don't know how to be silent. Silence terrifies you. It makes you uncomfortable. So instead of facing it, you fill every second with sound, chatter, and distraction. But here's a truth that might challenge you. Silence is not your enemy. In fact, it's a powerful gateway, a doorway to another world, one where the answers don't come from outside, but from deep within yourself. If you never dare to step through that door, you have no idea what you're missing. Think about the movie Eat, Pray, Love. The protagonist is trapped in a life that no longer fulfills her. She leaves everything behind and embarks on a journey of self-discovery. But she doesn't find herself amid chaos. She finds herself in silence. At a retreat in India, she faces her biggest challenge, being alone with her own thoughts. And it's not easy. Her mind screams, anxiety rises, and the urge to run away is strong. But then something shifts. When the external noise finally fades, she begins to hear what she truly needs to hear. Right there in the silence, she discovers the answers she was desperately searching for. Not because someone gave them to her, but because she could finally listen to her own voice. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Seneca said it clearly. We often suffer more from the noise in our minds than from the noise around us. We worry about things that haven't even happened yet, replay past mistakes on loop, and fill our heads with unnecessary thoughts that trap us in a relentless mental storm. But the one who learns to find calm in silence, learns to find calm in any situation. And science backs this up. A study from Duke University revealed something incredible happens in your brain when you spend time in silence. It doesn't shut down. It doesn't go into standby mode. It does the exact opposite. Imagine searching for something in a messy room. You look left, then right. You dig through piles, open drawers. But the more you search, the harder it becomes to find what you're looking for. Everything feels chaotic. Now imagine stopping, taking a breath, organizing just a little bit. Suddenly there it is, right in front of you, clear as day, the whole time. This is what silence does to your mind. It helps you organize your thoughts, clear the chaos, and find what truly matters. This network in your brain is known as the default mode network, a powerful neural system that helps you connect ideas, solve dilemmas, and find clarity. It's as if your mind, finally freed from distractions, starts tidying up, organizing your thoughts, and piecing together answers that once felt impossible to reach. If your mind feels like a constant storm and the answers seem out of grasp, what can you do? First, disconnect for at least 30 minutes a day. No screens, no conversations, just pure silence. It can be first thing in the morning, right before bed, or any moment in the day where you grant yourself this simple gift. Second, take silent walks. No music, no podcasts, just you and your thoughts. At first, this might feel strange or even uncomfortable, but over time, you'll find that this quiet space allows ideas and solutions to arise, the ones that were invisible before. Third, write down whatever surfaces during these moments of silence. Thoughts, reflections, doubts, put them on paper. Writing helps you clarify your thoughts and recognize patterns in your thinking. Because here's the truth. If you can't stand being alone with your thoughts, who else will? Silence isn't your enemy. It's the tool you need to calm your mind and guide you towards success. But my friend, if you truly want to master calm and reach success, there's one more important detail many people overlook. Yet it's what separates an overwhelmed mind from a mind in control. Ready to discover what it is? 11th, use your hands to calm your mind. Let me tell you the story of a man who could never sit still. not because he was impatient, but because his mind overflowed with questions. Simply observing the world wasn't enough for him. He needed to understand it, touch it, take it apart, and rebuild it with his own hands. He drew endlessly, designing machines that hadn't been invented yet. He studied anatomy and wrote without stopping. But he wasn't just driven by curiosity. He understood that the mind works best when his hands are busy. When he felt stuck, he sketched. When his thoughts became chaotic, he grabbed paper and organized them into drawings. When words couldn't express what he meant, he let action speak. That was his secret. He didn't wait for clarity. He created it with his own hands. That man was Leonardo da Vinci, a genius, yes, but also a man who discovered a truth many still don't understand. When the mind is overwhelmed, the solution isn't to think more, it's to do more. And you, my friend, what do you do when stress takes over? When ideas pile up, swirling without sense? When anxiety freezes you? Marcus Aurelius put it simply, well-directed action brings peace to the mind. Calm doesn't come from sitting still, waiting for the storm to pass. It comes when you take action. Imagine this. You're drowning in urgency. Your chest tightens under pressure. Your mind races like it's trying to juggle 1,000 things at once. Emails, calls, deadlines, all screaming for your attention at the same time. You desperately want to stay calm, but it feels impossible. And in that moment, all you wish for is to be that person, the one who handles pressure with grace, the one who stays centered, who makes clear decisions without getting swept away by the chaos. Because here's the truth. Those are the people who move forward. Those are the ones who succeed. But how do you do it when everything feels like it's burning down around you? The answer is surprisingly simple. Calm your mind by using your hands. I can almost hear you thinking, my hands? What kind of nonsense is that? I get it. It sounds too easy to be true. But trust me, it works. First, dedicate at least 10 minutes a day to a hands-on activity. It could be drawing, writing by hand, cooking, fixing something, gardening, anything that lets your hands get busy. And no, don't worry. I'm not telling you to suddenly start sketching in the middle of your noisy, chaotic office, but find a moment in your day, a quiet pause where you disconnect from the noise and give your mind a chance to reset. Second, remove distractions. Forget multitasking. Turn off notifications on your phone. And absolutely do not play music with lyrics in the background. Just you, your hands, and the activity. When your mind focuses on a single physical task, stress begins to melt away, often without you even noticing. Third, pay attention to how you feel afterward. You might not have solved all your problems, but I promise you'll gain clarity. A calmness as if the storm inside your head has settled, even if only a little. When words aren't enough, sometimes the silence of a simple hands-on task speaks louder than 1,000 chaotic thoughts. So tell me, my friend, what's the first thing you're going to do with your hands to calm your mind? Be bold. Share it in the comments below. Because calm isn't just the absence of chaos. Calm is the key to making better decisions, acting with clarity, and moving towards success without letting stress control you. Every day you have a choice to train your mind to respond thoughtfully to the noise around you or to get swept away by it. Don't wait for life to become easier or less chaotic. Real transformation happens when you learn to find calm within the challenge, when you decide to focus on what you can control and stop wasting energy on what you cannot. If you've made it this far, drop a comment. I choose calm to guide my success. That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are, the ones who made it all the way to the end. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Give this video a like so you won't miss what's coming next. Also, check out the playlist on your screen now. It's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with wisdom and confidence. Click it and let's keep moving forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.